Vacation plans, long commute, weekend at the cabin. Wherever you end up this summer, the Connector Idaho Daily News helps keep you connected to Idaho, even while you're away. Get the top local stories every weekday morning in just a few minutes. That's the Connector Idaho Daily News. Listen on your podcast app.
More Idaho Matters from the studios of Boise State Public Radio News. I'm Gemma Gaudette. There are countless stories and ballads, plays, even films about Robin Hood, but very few of them put Marion at the center of the medieval adventures in Sherwood Forest. But that's exactly what happens in the heart of Robin Hood, and it's running through September at the Idaho Shakespeare Festival. Our George Prentice wanted to find out more, so he sat down with the director and the actor who plays Maid Marion. So let's take a listen.
Jacqueline Miller is here, director. She's given us so many productions, over 9 seasons at Idaho Shakespeare. And Angela Utrera is here. We remember her from Peter and the Starcatcher and Twelfth Night. Jacqueline Miller, talk to us about this production.
Yes, absolutely. So it was written by David Farr, who was the artistic director for a while for the RSC, the Royal Shakespeare Company, and it premiered there. And it's a wonderful adaptation. It's very episodic in nature. So you're bouncing back and forth pretty frequently between interior and exterior, between the castle of York, where Marion is, raised and lived, and then you're, of course, outdoors in Sherwood Forest. And so there's this real alacrity to the play, which is wonderful and delightful. But I think the thing that really drew me to it is, we all have this idea of Robin Hood. We've all grown up with this hero or this myth, this folklore that we know about him, this moral compass that he has. But what's great about this adaptation is it kind of challenges you to go, well, what if your heroes aren't who you think they are? Wow. And what if when you meet them at the beginning, they aren't on the path that you expect or know? And what is the agent of change for that person to become the hero that we know them to be? It really, to me, is like Marion's story. Marion is the hero. She is the catalyst, the agent for change, the moral compass. And I think there's something really, really unique and special about this particular adaptation.
I love it. Angela, what's it like playing a hero?
Well, it's very, very rewarding.
Tell us about this Marion.
Yeah, so it's wonderful to be able to play a character that in the myths and the legends has always been described, in all adaptations, as like brave and headstrong in that, but this adaptation particularly really puts her in the forefront of all of those adjectives. She is headstrong and brave. She has an enormous sense of justice, and she just can't not do what she thinks is the right thing. And I think because she makes waves so strong, other people also kind of get swept up in her sense of justice and her contagiousness.
I just was going to say that, I feel like there are versions of this story that have, as Angela said, like they are headstrong, but there is still a bit of passivity or a bit of like damsel in distress with those versions. And this is the antithesis of that, which I love. And what it also ties in, which this is really a note to David Farr, his deep love and appreciation for Shakespeare, what his upbringing was working with the RSC. It's very Shakespearean in its telling, right? Like the Marion is effectively a pants roll. Not that I want to give anything away, but like there's something really, really special, I think, about this particular adaptation at a Shakespeare Company because there are such parallels in that world.
Let me ask both of you. And so, Angela, I'll have you start here. Is this a contemporary telling?
Like Jackie said, it's like very Shakespearean in the structure that the story happens, but I think it's extremely timeless in the way that it is presented to the audience in this particular script.
Jacqueline?
I think it's inadvertently contemporary. What I mean by that is I think the agency, and I'm not being contrary to you, Ange, but I think the
Mhm.
agency isn't a given. I think it is taken and then owned by the women in this particular
Mhm.
production. And I think that what's amazing and sort of in our research and working with it, there are so many things that are accidentally identical to how they were between the 11th and the 16th century, which this sort of broadly covers. There's not like we're sort of in Renaissance, right? Like we're not strictly in a particular century.
Got it.
And so I I feel like the sort of the social inequity, the political instability, there's just a ton of parallels
Mhm.
that this was written, in 2011. It was written well over 15 years ago about something that was happening in the 12th-ish century. And there are so many things that are like, wow, we're still talking about today. This is fascinating.
Right.
Yeah.
How have audiences been responding to this?
I think they're liking it. I think what this play really allows you to do is that it's fast paced, it's fun, and I think audiences like get swept and like sucked into what's happening on the stage pretty quickly. It's a slow soaking of what the play is sending a message about. Like I had this little girl, I maybe like 3 days ago after the play, she wasn't she wasn't little, she was about 10 or 12. And she goes very, very articulate. I was very impressed. She goes, wow, all of us can just change anytime we want. And I was like, yeah, yeah,
I
you
love it.
can you can just wake up one day and decide that today is the day that you stand up for someone, or you know, like you can be whatever you want to be any day of your life at any point. If things are getting to the audiences, like that, then I think we're doing a good job. It's being received well.
Oh my gosh. One of the things that I loved it about Peter and the Starcatcher last year, and I love it about The Heart of Robin Hood this year. I feel like it's bringing families to the theater
Yeah.
and to feel like you can affect change, on anyone or reflection on anyone, but certainly to be able to have these multi-generational experiences where we all can connect to something different in the play and to see this really like brave, courageous, strong woman on stage for those young little girls and kids to have that to watch. I just that to me is absolutely it's not only the bonus, it's like the reason to be here, right?
Right.
So it's marvelous. And yeah, I think by and large the response that we've had to the show has been, overwhelmingly positive, and I feel so grateful to the company for their tremendous work and commitment and dedication to this storytelling that they're doing every night.
Jacqueline, talk to us
Yeah.
about the stagecraft here. I mean, can I assume that the sets and the costumes are brilliant?
Oh yeah, it's all magnificent. I have to say, Courtney O'Neill, who was our scenic designer, built this really towering structure that is both simultaneously feels like the world and the walls are closing in, particularly on Marion when she is just trapped inside this castle, but also, in the complete reverse, feels like it breeds this sort of openness and spaciousness when you're outside. So I think there was just a real brilliant design on her part. Esther Haberlin, who did our costumes. There's 14 people who are constantly changing their clothes and playing a ton of characters,
Hmm.
and she just does that so tremendously and magnificently. Like I could go through our whole list. It's fantastic. Christopher Duvall, who did our fights. This is a big fight show. I mean, it's Robin Hood. I think you expect that there's going to be some like, some
Correct.
serious sword play that happens in the show. And he is just a total wonder. But yeah, and then Paul James Prendergast, who's our composer, who this is like it's you would mentioned to me earlier, George, is this a play with music? Yes, that is definitely, a component that exists. And then it all gets rounded out with, Rick Martin, who's our lighting designer and just really makes that world absolutely gorgeous.
Angela,
So,
did you love sword fights and do
Oh, multiple swords at the same time and daggers. And I am the biggest Renaissance fair nerd that anyone has probably ever met. And this is like it's a dream come true to be on this stage fighting people and telling a story. It's incredible.
Angela, where's home for you?
Home for me is floating. Is kind of New York. It's I was born in Spain, so born and raised, so that'll always be home.
I want to ask about your Spanish roots because there is a phrase, and I'm certain I will not pronounce it properly, but in your bio, there's a phrase here, un besazo. What is this phrase?
Un besazo a toda mi familia, I think it says.
And what does it mean?
It means a gigantic kiss to all my family.
And your family must go beyond bloodlines, I'm assuming.
Oh, yes, it's, my family and this company at the Idaho Shakespeare Festival, and, my parents, everybody who's overseas.
Lovely. Angela
Yeah.
Utrera will be Marion in The Heart of Robin Hood. And Jacqueline Miller is director of this production, which we can't wait to see. And again, it's September 4th through the 27th at Idaho Shakespeare. Have a wonderful time with this.
Thanks, George. Have a
Thank
good
you.
one.
Bye.
Take care.
you too. Bye-bye.
And that was our very own George Prentice, of course, talking with the director and the actor who plays Maid Marion. The Heart of Robin Hood is running through September at the Idaho Shakespeare Festival. So if you don't have tickets, get them. And that'll do it for this episode of Idaho Matters. Make sure you check out our podcast feed because you can find more episodes of topics that might be interesting to you. And for more local news and headlines, make sure you subscribe to the Connector podcast. Are you subscribed to this Idaho Matters podcast yet? Make sure you're following so you never miss an episode.